What's up? Back again. Daytime show. If you're watching on YouTube later, you should join on Twitch, www. People don't use that, but it's twitch.tv/MikeTheMush. And it's fun to watch live because you can jump in the chat and we can interact about what we're going to talk about. But if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. I'll talk about it on the next show. But I wanted to go live early today for a couple reasons. One, it was about 1 a.m. and I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep, and I see something crawling across my bed. It was a gigantic, I guess, grasshopper. I'm convinced it was an alien, if I'm being honest. It was big. It was big. So I leap out, I murder it dead. Cops aren't watching, don't worry about it. You can't be nice to a huge grasshopper that's in your bed. I'm sorry, it's trespassing. You're not allowed. So that was firing me up. Now I'm awake. Now I'm thinking about Dame Lillard trade deals all day, and I woke up and I wanted to talk basketball, so here we are. Also, it's snowing in New York? I mean, you gotta be kidding me. So it's a dreary day, and I wanted to turn it up. I want to get started early. Yesterday, if you didn't watch, we'll talk about the picks. We broke about even. No big deal. Should have been a little better. We'll talk about that in a second. We also talked Ben Simmons trade deals and what the Sixers should do and how urgent they should be, because this December 14th date is coming where teams can trade players that were signed this year. There's a rule that you can't trade them right away. There's a little bit of a faux deadline there. So you could see some deals happen in about a week. And I'm trying to get out ahead of them, play with the trade machine on NBA.com and see what we can come out with. And we came out with a dozen okay ones, probably 5 or 6 really good ones for Simmons yesterday. So go back and watch that if you didn't see it. Today we're going to do the Blazers. We're going to do Dame Lillard stuff if you want to completely blow it up, or we're going to do CJ McCollum stuff if you think you can pair someone with Dame and get him to stay. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but we'll try to work out both and try to get to about a dozen deals if we can. We'll see what happens. First, let's jump into yesterday's picks, which we had the Nets win. That was a good one. We had Nets money line. They come back in this one. I just don't believe in Dallas. Luka looked good, but it looked like he gassed down the stretch, which keeps happening to them. And him and Porzingis both struggled down the stretch, and that's really all they have to score. Porzingis went 6 for 17, but he was good in the first half. He missed a lot of shots down the stretch. And Luka, too, 9 for 21, 3 for 11 from 3. His usage is so high that his stats are always going to be good. I'm a believer in Luka. I like him and all, but this Mavericks team just isn't that good to me. Hardaway had a clean look at a 3 to tie the game. And autoplay, I want you to leave this planet. And he missed it. So that was helpful. Nets come back and win. And we might dip back in on them tonight, but stay tuned for the end of the show, as always, for our picks for tonight. The other one, we had a little college parlay that didn't go that well. Vanderbilt, I had them at home. They tried to come back in this one. They started slow. They went to overtime somehow. Forced overtime with a crazy run at the end. So we were really on par with this one, and I don't feel bad about it. Because they're down 10 early in the second half. It's looking ugly. They can't shoot it. Their numbers, I don't know what they finished at, but they weren't good. 4 for 26 from 3, and it was worse than that for a while. And, I don't need to explain losses too much, but this one really, really was tight. And then they're down 6 with 40 seconds left. They keep fouling early. They're sending them to the free throw line constantly, and they keep making them. But then Scottie Pippen starts scoring, which is why I picked them. Temple isn't good at defending. And Vanderbilt really can score. They just missed every shot. But eventually, they found a way to claw back into this one. They make 2 free throws. They foul, make 2 again. They're down 5 with 13 seconds left. They get a layup. They get an offensive foul. They get the ball back. Scotty nails the 3 to go to overtime. And I'm thinking, oh, we're going to sweep again, baby. We swept on Monday. We're going to sweep again on Tuesday. And the overtime just didn't go their way. It was very close. So, close one. And we parlayed that with DePaul, who was fine. But it didn't work out. So we went 2 for 3. But we go 50-50 on the actual picks. And no big deal. No love lost. We still killed on Monday. We're still up for the week. And we're still hot in most places. We'll have more for later. Let's jump into the Blazers, shall we? I want to get into this because I think they are fundamentally broken. They are 11-14. Their depth chart doesn't have Dame on it right now because he's hurt and McCollum's hurt right now. I faded them on Monday, and I love the idea of fading them constantly. I think they do play tonight, but it's against Golden State, and the spread is gigantic. I probably still recommend taking Golden State, but it's like 14 or something ridiculous. So who knows? But you look at this team, even when healthy, and you have Dame and CJ, who are great offensively, but can't defend at all. They're both small guards, and neither of them want to defend. That's why they bring in Norman Powell and Robert Covington. But Covington hasn't looked great. They traded a first-round pick for him. They haven't gotten value back for that. They bring in Larry Nance for the same reason, get a wing defender, right? But it hasn't answered the problem of, like, you still have two guys that you have to try to kind of hide on defense. And it's not really possible with all the elite guards in the league. Now, you can just try to outscore them. But if that's always what your offense is going to be, then why even have the two defenders in the lineup? It feels like they're trying to play both sides of the coin, and it's not working. And for years, it hasn't really worked. They do well enough to make the playoffs. You know, last year they go 42-30. It's fine. 35-39. 53-29 was the good year. Like the Blimps. And why were they better in this year? Al-Farouq Aminu had a pretty good year. Nurkic was actually healthy, played 72 games. They had Cantor, or Enos Freedom, I should say, like the Fries. Rodney Hood. I mean, it was the same, though. They had Seth Curry. They had Mo Harkless to defend. But it's all the same story. They can win, and they got to the Western Conference Finals and get swept by the Warriors. And it's like, yeah, that's about their ceiling, you know? That's really as far as they're going to get. And you look at the other years, it's 49 wins, fine. 500, 44 wins, 51 wins in 2014-15. That was a good year. Was that Dame's? That was his second year. And they still had LaMarcus Aldridge at this time, and Wes Matthews, Nick Batum. This was the old team. This was the team that actually had a real chance and still never went far. So I just think this window has kind of passed, and they're trying to do patchwork stuff to fix it, and it's not really working. Is this team going to win a championship? No. Definitely no. They're 11-14. I know their guys are banged up, but even when healthy, Dame and CJ can upset you for a series. Definitely. They have those walk-offs. They beat the Thunder. They did all this stuff. The wave bye-bye. It was all great. And I really like Norman Powell. I really do. I think they should keep him at all costs. He's young, right? He seems young anyway. 28? Yeah. So they get him. He's improved every year. He's been very good. No problem there. And he can actually defend. You can pair Powell with CJ or Dame and make it make more sense and balance your team a little bit. I just don't know if... I like the Dame and CJ thing. Like, it just feels nice and fun to watch. But I don't think it's ever going to be championship-winning basketball. And I think they need to acknowledge that now. They have a new GM. They have a new coach. It's time to make a change. We know this. And so the question is, if you trade CJ... what can you get? Yesterday we talked about a CJ for Simmons deal. We'll put that on the list, even though we talked about it yesterday. So if you want the breakdown for that, go back. But Simmons and Lillard together makes a lot of sense. Because then all of a sudden you're a defensive team with Lillard able to carry the burden on offense, which is good. If you trade Dame, it's over. Unless you're getting a star back in a win now move, but that's not really going to happen. And also, 9 times out of 10, I don't like trading a superstar player. But he's 31. He's under a big contract. Let's see. Dame Lillard Spotrac. He's making 40 this year, 42 next year, 45, and then 48 player option, which I really imagine he's going to pick up $48 million as a 34-year-old small guard that has already shown a couple signs of getting injured a little bit. Not bad, but this year he's been a little banged up. The abdominal thing, who knows? Should be short term. So they're on the hook for a lot of money, and if you can trade him, the only thing you're going to be doing is either taking back an asset people probably don't want, which I don't think gets you closer to winning, right? It's impossible to get closer to winning and rebuild your team while trading Dame Lillard. I just don't think that's the thing. So we're going to treat this as you either trade CJ and try to win, or you trade Dame and you blow it up. In which case, you can also trade CJ later if you want to, but we're not going to get into all that, because that'll just be for picks, right? I mean, a lot of the Dame stuff will just be for picks too. But you still have to find a spot where Dame could go that they think they can win. And it's not every team that can just fit a $40 million guard on their roster, because a lot of the teams like their guards. So let's go through. Yes, we're going to go through the trade machine. Also, I talked about on one of the shows a while back how I think the foul thing, the changes in fouls have really changed Dame a little bit. Free throws attempted. I would like per game, please. Yeah, he's down from 7.2 last year, 7.8 the year before. He's at 4.5 this year. And it's hurting his numbers. He's down to 22 points per game for scoring, down from 30 and 29. I think that matters. I really do. It's a large enough sample size. We have 25 games now. How long do we need to wait? I think it matters. These small guards, even the James Hardens of the world, aren't getting to the line quite as much. He's trying to figure it out. And he's been improving at it. And Dame's been injured, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But even if he takes a 5-point hit, that's a hit. I'm not saying you need to trade him for that reason, but it all factors in. So let's go to the standings and see. I guess we start with, I have a little list here, which we'll have for the end. Blazers trades, improve now. So let's do the improve now thing and see if we could trade CJ for pieces that make sense, that make them contending, right? I don't know how you do it, but maybe there's something there. So we throw the McCollum for Simmons on there. I don't know how you make that work, but if you can, that makes you better, right? I need to trying to save this. It's force of habit. Okay. The Nets, there's maybe a Kyrie thing in there, but they're not going to trade Kyrie for CJ McCollum, I don't think. But let's just say you can give up a pick or two, and the Nets are like secretly, not so secretly, but desperate to get rid of him. So let's say that. The Bulls, not going to happen. They're already set. The Bucks have no wiggle room. They have Drew Holiday on a mega deal who they already gave up all their picks for. It's just not going to happen. The Heat are chock full. They're banged up, but they're full of players. The Wizards, the Beal thing, if you could somehow swing, they're not going to do McCollum for Beal. That doesn't make any sense. And Dame for Beal doesn't make sense either, because what do you even really... We'll put the Wizards on the list, but I just don't see how that's going to work. The Sixers we already talked about. The Hornets, maybe there's something with the Hornets. Maybe. I'm not sure that they want McCollum for any reason. They're already pretty full at guard, unless it's like a Dame for LaMelo kind of situation. But we're talking CJ right now, so I actually don't think the Hornets want him. CJ would have to go to a team that is either, and we're not talking about blowing it up, because if you trade Dame, then yes, you can trade CJ for picks and blowing it up, and he can just help a contender. But either way, he's only going to go to a contender, right? Because who else is going to want to pick him up? Cleveland, maybe, if they want to make a run at it. I think they're good, and Sexton is out, and, maybe we'll throw him on the list. Atlanta can't really... What are they going to give? He would look good next to Trey. But then you have the same problem you have in Portland, where both guards can't defend. But we'll put him on the list. That'll be quick, though. Boston, maybe. The Knicks make sense. The Raptors and the Pacers make sense. Magic and Pistons don't. Warriors for McCollum. I just don't see that, because there's no piece there that helps Portland now, which is what this move has to be. It's not Kuminga Wiseman doesn't help them now enough to get Dame to stay, right? And a lot of these are the same in that regard. Suns don't need him. Jazz probably don't need him and can't offer enough to make them do it. Grizzlies, CJ and Ja, but what do they have to offer? I just don't, I don't think that's there. Unless they're giving Jaren Jackson, in which case I don't know if that makes the Grizzlies any better, but let's see. Let's throw it on the list. Clippers have the Kawhi situation. They can't really do anything. The Lakers would love CJ McCollum, but what are they going to give for him that makes the Blazers better? Unless it's Westbrook and Lillard definitely can't play together, so throw that out the window. Dallas would absolutely love him. Let's throw that in there. I don't think there's a Porzingis deal, but the Nuggets would love him, but what do they have to give? Can't do Porter. He's out for the year. Can't do Murray. He's out. So they're just kind of screwed. Minnesota, they're not going to give up Towns for CJ McCollum. And you're not going to get Edwards, and you don't want D'Lo. So I don't know what helps the Blazers there. Blazers are the Blazers. There's a hot take. The Kings, we'll throw the Kings on the list. The Spurs would definitely like a player like McCollum, but again, what do they have to offer that make the Blazers better? We can look. The Rockets, I can't imagine they're trying to get players that want to win. They have John Wall on their roster. They don't want to play him. The Thunder don't have enough, and the Pelicans, put the Pelicans on the list. Okay, so let's go through it. And I'm going to go semi-fast because we got to figure out 2 different levels today. So the first team is the Blazers. And then we're going Washington. Some of these will cross off quickly if we realize that it's not going to work. So Washington, and we're talking CJ trades to make the Blazers win now better. And so you're putting CJ with Beal. Dinwiddie can be traded on the 14th. He's one of those guys, right? So I guess you need him back to make the Blazers still good, and then you'd have to put... See, I don't see a reason why the Wizards want to do a Dinwiddie-Kuzma deal. While that does rebuild a piece of the Blazers, I don't think it's enough to get them to contend for a championship or anything. So I don't see that, and if you give Beal... it makes sense for neither side, so I just don't see it for the Warriors unless we're talking about a Dame blow-it-up situation. So the CJ thing doesn't really work with them. Let's go Cavs. Cavs are next, right? Yep. Close this. Okay, add team 2, Cavaliers. Now you put CJ here, and you do Kevin Love, and then you need to make salaries work because you need a hell of a lot more than that. You really probably want... you can't get Mobley or Garland. And Sexton's out for the year. I don't know if there's enough here. I mean, Rubio, it doesn't do it as a backup guard. But he'd have to be in the deal. And then you're going to have to give back Nurkic or Lance or something. And this just isn't enough to trade CJ McCollum for this kind of shit. To try to be good. I just don't see how you're not going to get Garland, and it actually doesn't change your team that much. Then you're the same team. If you want a Coro, it doesn't change you that much. None of this stuff makes you winnable unless you get Mobley, and they're not going to do that. And even if they did, it looks like what? I mean, then you need... yeah, I mean, Mobley and Rubio for McCollum. Like, why on earth are the Cavs doing that? They're not. So cross the Cavs off the list. Then we're at Atlanta. There's not a lot of McCollum deals that help you get good now, aside from the Simmons thing, which we talked about yesterday. So get rid of the Cavs. Now we go to Atlanta. I think it's going to be the same situation. Like, what's here? You take Gallo back? Bogdanovich? Are any of these teams actually making you compete? Hunter is a nice piece. I don't know. What else? There's nothing here to make this make sense. So cross Atlanta off the list. Let's go to Boston. Now, this is interesting. Is there something around Brown? Because McCollum fits better with Tatum than Brown does, in my opinion. But Brown is a better player than CJ McCollum. And the other question is why? Because you'd love to put Brown with Lillard. I see why the Blazers would be intrigued by this, but it needs to be a bigger thing, I think. It needs to be something different that shifts the teams in some way. And Smart can't be traded this season because he's extended. And what do the Celtics need? A big. You could throw Nurkic in the deal, rebuild that. Then you need some Celtics salary going the other way, which would be Richardson in all likelihood. And these numbers do make sense. Brown and Richardson for McCollum and Nurkic doesn't work unless you throw picks in there. Like maybe we'll throw it on the list just because we have almost nothing, but McCollum plus Nurkic plus first for Brown plus Richardson. Just in case we're not sure. I mean, I don't know. It's a stretch. And the Kyrie one's a stretch too. So we'll put a little break there. But I'm just trying to find something. And if it's not Brown, who's it going to be? It's not Tatum. So, you know. Because then you have Robert Williams and Nurkic who bring different things to the table. You have two bigs. You have McCollum and Tatum. You still don't really have a point guard, but McCollum can play point for you at least. Schroeder, I mean, he could be in the deal too. If the Blazers felt like they needed another guard or something, but you know, something like that. Let's qualify this. Save ourselves here for the thumbnail. Okay, so I don't know, maybe let's go Knicks. Now, what do the Knicks have to offer that they're interested in? It would have to be, I mean, Randall's not getting traded. Fournier brings you the same problem, no defense. You get Burks back. But what's really helping you win right now on the Knicks? Nothing, because they don't win. RJ Barrett, not enough. He fits better than, you know, you could do this, I guess, but it's like, why? That's not getting the Blazers closer to winning. And they don't have a big to give. Obi Toppin? I mean, this is a weird deal that I don't think the Knicks would do. They're not going to give RJ Barrett and Obi for CJ McCollum, so I don't know if this one works. So let's cross the Knicks off. Let's go Raptors are next. Toronto. So CJ for Siakam. I mean, hey. There you go. Maybe that's interesting. Are the Raptors interested in playing Van Vliet and McCollum together? I don't know. But it definitely is interesting. It shakes up both teams. I don't know if it... what does it say it does to each team? Blazers get worse. Raptors don't change. Yeah. Needs to be a little bit bigger. It needs to be like, and then you need to throw a guard in here. It's not going to be OG, right? I mean, let's say it is. Both teams stay roughly the same. I mean, probably needs some salary because Portland's eating a little too much. Which means you got to get rid of somebody. Not going to be Simons. It'll probably just be like, yeah, Ben McLemore and Dennis Smith and filler, but that's not important. So CJ and Rocco for Siakam and Anunoby. You kind of want to keep Rocco because you want to have a defensive identity. So maybe you keep him and you throw Nurkic in instead, but then you don't have a big. So you need... They're not going to trade Boucher, right? And they're not going to trade Precious Achiuwa either. So... And they only have Cody Zeller. Nurkic is a good dangle as a rental to try to improve, but maybe this is like a 3-team deal where Nurkic goes somewhere else. You know? But I don't want to try to get into the weeds on that. Because if you have Siakam, Nurkic, and Covington, and Larry Nance, that's just too much. So let's just take Nurkic out of here, put Covington back in, and let's just see. I mean, it's not insane. I don't know what it really does, but it's an option. I just don't think this makes the Blazers, like, better. I don't think it's a good deal, but it's a deal. I think both teams probably say no. Which is weird. But it might be true. Okay. Almost closed it out. That would be dangerous. We move on to the Pacers. Now this one makes sense. This one's straightforward. And I think it's Sabonis, McCollum, and then you need to fix the salary by throwing in Holiday is fine. Is Sabonis too good for this? Probably. So they need something else back. And... Maybe you make it a bigger deal. And... You can't give back Nurkic. It has to be Covington in pretty much every deal. But that's too much money. And does this make the Pacers good? No, right? Brogdon and McCollum is actually not... It's better than what they have, but they have LeVert and Warren. Although Warren's hurt, and Lamb and these kind of guys. They just got Duarte. It's a lot of guards. So maybe it's not Holiday, it's probably Warren going back. These salaries are closer. And then you need to fix it by throwing Lamb in. I don't know. This for the Pacers, this is like a reload. I mean, maybe we could throw it on the list. It's not horrible. Sabonis, Warren, Lamb. And if you don't want it to be Warren, is there other money that they can give that isn't impactful? Not really. So, I don't think this is going to happen, but Warren has not been playing, right? Yeah, he's out for the rest of the year, so he's just salary filler. He's a rental that fills salaries, which is perfect. So maybe there's something there. Makes the Pacers a little worse. Makes the Blazers a little better. But the Pacers are looking to move Sabonis, and I don't know what they're doing. Are they rebuilding, or are they trying to get better? Either way, we throw it on the list. Grizzlies, I don't think this one's going to work, but I just wanted to look through the roster. And we have CJ for... Dylan Brooks has to be in the deal. Jaren Jackson, if they just want to, like, change the way the team looks, you know? I don't see this being a thing. But you throw someone... yeah. Maybe they don't want to give Brooks. Maybe they want to give Jackson. And you need salary is the problem. Anderson can go back. And you're still 11 short. Which Brooks makes up for, but Oh, Tyus Jones. There it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah. How much does Anderson play? 20 minutes a game. Is he too valuable to be just thrown in as filler? But I don't know what else you would do. I think it's fine. They have enough guys in their rotation. And you put McCollum next to Ja, and then you just figure that you try to become what the Blazers were? I don't know. I think Jaren Jackson for McCollum makes some kind of sense. Maybe. Because Jaren Jackson is at least a different look for the Blazers. I don't think it makes them really better. What do the numbers say? Yeah. But, I mean, these are the options. I don't think they're going to take any of them, to be fair. But I just want to show them. This is why it's hard to make the Blazers better. This is why the next segment is going to make sense when I'm saying that they should probably blow it up. And of course, you know, maybe draft capital has to go into some of this to balance it all out. I don't know. So don't come at me too hard. Let's talk Mavs. I think there's got to be something here, right? But the problem is, can they give anything back? It's Porzingis, but, like, they don't want that. Who wants him? He's a negative asset. McCollum's a positive asset. So it can't really be him. And what else do they have to offer? Hardaway can't be traded this year because they extended him. God knows why. Powell, is he worth anything? Like, what do they have to give? Nothing. So I don't see how they get him because in this scenario, Portland is trying to improve. If this is a blow it up situation, maybe. But if Portland's trying to improve, right? Then the Porzingis thing doesn't make any sense. Unless they have a young guy to throw back in that's cheap. But Josh Green hasn't worked. Moses Brown, Ntilikina, I don't like their draft picks. And they didn't really have much. So I just don't see that. I can't imagine they're going to do McCollum for Porzingis unless they can dump a negative asset that they don't like, which they don't really have on the roster. It's just a broken roster that's bad. They don't have any, like, horrible contracts. But, I mean, I guess I'll put it on the list. It's not going to happen. I don't know what that does, but whatever. But that's what we're left with. These are the deals we're left with. Unless I'm just not creative enough, but I don't know. I'm trying to get pretty creative. Now, this is a team that can make sense, right? Because you put McCollum with Fox, and maybe, well, problem is you have Halliburton. So I don't think they want McCollum. I mean, you could turn Buddy Hield into McCollum, but what's the difference, right? That's kind of too similar. And if it's Barnes, then you all of a sudden have Fox, Hield, McCollum, and Halliburton, which is too much. And Davion Mitchell, who they just got. They kind of need to get rid of a guard, not add one. So, Kings, not going to happen. Sorry. Spurs. I don't think they have anything to offer. DeJounte next to Dame could make sense, actually. But why are they getting rid of him? Is this making the Spurs better to get McCollum in there? I think DeJounte's been kind of better, right? Yeah. 19, 8, and 8. Quietly having a really good season. His usage is quite high on a bad team. But still. I mean, let's just look at it. And then it would have to be, they like Podol there. I don't see why they would trade him, and he's not old. He's 26. I don't know why the Spurs are doing this, because the Spurs are nowhere near competing. So, like, unless they're getting a young talent, McCollum is 30. There's just no incentive here for the Spurs. They need to figure out what the hell they're doing and get young assets. So I don't think the Spurs are on this list. The Pelicans. The Pelicans are tricky. They could really use a guard like CJ. But if they give up Ingram, is that... I mean, maybe that's... You know... I don't know. For both teams, it's like, why? All these trades, like, don't impact the winning of either team. Yeah, I just don't think this gets you there. It's an interesting change-up if you're Portland, I guess. But not really. It's not like Ingram is a defender. He's bigger, but he doesn't use the size very well. People thought he was going to be like new KD, but he's not. And unless you're getting Valanciunas back, which, like, again, why are they doing it then? And it's not a Zion deal. So, again, I'll throw this on the list, but this feels like nonsense. This feels like just doing trades to do them. So one of these makes sense. And the other ones, I mean, the Kyrie one, maybe. I'll put a break here. And I think the Celtics one is okay. You know. I think the Celtics one is good for the Celtics. Well, this one's good. Let's put this up a little. I don't think the Kyrie one is really realistic at all. Unless he says he would play there for some reason. So let's throw that further down the list, to be honest. These three are definitely last because I don't think they make the team better. I'm trying to just put breaks where there's some sensical stuff. These two are okay. These three aren't bad. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We came away with 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, 8. 8 deals for McCollum that try to make the Blazers better, and I don't know if it does. And none of them get them over the hump to being actually a team contending for the title, but you're just trying to shake it up a little bit and convince Dame to stay, I guess. So let's go back to the standings. We put Dame in, and then we try to figure out, if you are blowing it up, who can Dame go to? Who can fit him? Who can actually go for a title with Dame now or wants Dame in some capacity to build around? And then acknowledging after that you know, that will trade McCollum too. Because if you're totally blowing it up, we're not going to go into those deals because they're just probably for picks. And a lot of these are probably for picks too. But still, you got to find a spot where he can go, right? And I guess you could do a Kyrie deal. I don't see how, but we'll put him on the list. The Bulls, no. The Bucks can't fit him. The Heat can't fit him. They signed Lowry. The Wizards... We'll put the Wizards on the list. If they can get Dame and Beal together, I guess that's good for them. The Sixers, definitely. The Hornets, to take Dame, they just can't really do that. Dame and LaMelo doesn't make any sense, so no. Dame in Cleveland. Put him on the list. Atlanta, no, they have Trey. Boston, definitely. Knicks, definitely. Raptors, yes. Pacers, yes. And some of these deals will look similar to what we just did and what we did yesterday, but still want to work it out. The Warriors, I don't think they can't fit the salary without giving back something big, and they don't have that. Suns, no. Jazz, I'm going to put them on the list. Let's see how that works. The Grizzlies, I don't think Ja and Dame makes a whole lot of sense. Clippers, I don't think can afford that salary, but I'll sniff it out. Lakers, I mean, there's a Russ deal, I guess, but it doesn't make sense. Dallas, sure. Denver, I don't think they have the salaries to give back, but we'll put them on the list. Minnesota, I think they can. The Kings, we'll put them on the list. The Spurs are in too much of a rebuild mode, and I don't think they can actually give any assets. But I'll put them on there. The Rockets sure can. The Thunder sure can. And the Pelicans sure can. I mean, every team wants Dame. We should have known this. But which ones make sense, right? So we start in Brooklyn. And you're doing Dame for Kyrie. And then you're giving up... Is there anything else that the Blazers would want here? Probably not. I mean, you could put in Duke or whatever. None of this matters. And it's just a million. It's just picks. So, Dame for Kyrie plus picks. And that's a blow it up, but it's a blow it up with a person there. Maybe. Who knows? But the picks are probably too late for it to make sense, right? Because the Nets are going to be good. So, I don't see why this is beneficial. But we had to start somewhere. Washington. Imagine the Nets, though. Jesus. Washington could do... And now Washington would want to pair Dame and Beal, right? So they need all just future talent and salary. So it'd have to be Rui, Kispert, you need salary. It's got to be Bryant and Bertans. And probably Holiday. And then the money makes sense. So, and then just a million picks. Dame for Rui, Bertans, Kispert, Holiday. I was using plus signs, wasn't I? Rui plus Bertans plus Kispert plus Holiday plus Bryant plus picks. Okay? We'll go back and reorder these as for likely and not likely. But that's what it would have to look like to get Dame and Brad together. Did we just close the trade machine? We did. Hate to see it. Washington's out. We go to Philly. We know what that has to look like. But Simmons sure ain't going to be enough. So you need Maxey. Simmons, Maxey, Lillard. And you need more for Dame. You need, what's another young talent? Tybal. And it's probably all they want. Maybe one they want Paul Reed or something. And then probably still have to give a pick. Dame for Simmons plus Tybal plus Maxey plus Reed. And this is Philly just saying if we have Dame and Embiid, like none of the other stuff matters. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this one. The Blazers, this is actually isn't a blow it up move for the Blazers is the problem. It kind of is. Because you don't know if Simmons is playing. So this is a weird one that I'll put at the bottom. But the salaries work. And you're getting enough talent in there. I don't know how many picks need to go back. So, we'll see. This won't happen, but it's possible. It's possible. Cleveland, to get Dame, would need to give Mobley, and I don't think they're going to do that. But, well, actually, they would have to give Garland. And you probably have to give Garland and Mobley. And at that point, you're just like, why am I doing this? But... and then you give Love back for salary. And then you need to dump some salary here. And then you need to dump some salary back. So, you know, Dean Wade. And this works. Makes the Cavs that much worse. Huh. But this is just because you want a superstar, right? I don't know. Dan Gilbert's weird. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll put it in a new category. Dame plus Covington for Garland plus Mobley. I wouldn't do this if I'm the Cavs, for what it's worth. Plus Love plus Wade. And then you still probably need a pick. I don't know. I mean, you tell me. We'll go through it at the end. Just putting a list together. Boston is obviously a Brown deal. But you need more than that. You need... do they have any other assets anyone wants? Is the question. You throw Neesmith in. I don't think they do. I don't think they do. But it probably looks like that, plus picks from Boston. So maybe it's not that crazy. Right? It's not that crazy. For Jaylen Brown, Josh Richardson, Neesmith, picks. Because these all involve a lot of picks, obviously. We know this. It's just like, what teams can even fit Dame? There aren't that many. The Knicks can. The Knicks deal makes sense. Because it's Dame for RJ, Toppin, Quickly. You need Kemba in there, who can be traded on the 14th. That's just for salary purposes, which brings you to 24, and then you need 15 million more. So you need Burks in there, and then we're at 34. You throw Knox in, and then Kemba. So that's what the deal looks like, plus picks. So it's Dame for Barrett, Toppin, plus signs. Toppin, Quickly, Burks, Knox, picks. Okay? This should make the trade work. Oh, because the Kemba thing isn't in there, but he would be. So we can't see what the wins would be, according to John Hollinger. But this works. The Knicks get a star that they get to pair with Randall. They give up every pick they own, and they give up Barrett, Toppin, and Quickly as young stars. This deal makes more sense than any of the other ones, if I'm being honest. And I'm a Knicks fan, I get it. And actually, I don't really want them to do this, but I get it. I definitely get it, and I would be excited if they did. This is the most realistic one, I think, so I'm going to put this to the top. Because you look at all the other places, and you're like, yeah, I get these, but in no place are they getting, unless the Celtics want the Brown deal. Right? We put that second. Or the Kyrie thing, I guess. And like the Wizards deal is a crappy version of the Knicks deal, right? Because it's less young talent and probably a similar number of picks. So I think the Knicks one makes some sense because the Knicks are starving for a guard talent like Dame. And this is a blow it up spot for the Blazers where they get Barrett, who might be really good, and they get Toppin and Quickly, who are young assets who are controllable and improving. Knox is a salary filler. He'll be out of the league. Burks can at least play on your tanking bad team. And this one makes the most sense so far. Did I just talk myself into the Knicks getting Dame? Okay. On to Toronto. I don't think Toronto has enough. Siakam. I mean, Dame and Van Vliet are cool together, but like this is just picks. This is just nothing but picks, and you want another young talent in there, Professor Sachua probably, and yeah, there's no one else that they really want. You could throw Flynn in there just for salary purposes, and to have a guard to play on the tanking Blazers, and then picks. So. If they like Siakam, I mean, I guess. How old is Pascal Siakam? 27, yeah. So if they like him, and they think they can rebuild around him, or at least flip him again for something else, which is possible. Chua. Yeah? Yeah. Plus Flynn, plus picks. Now, this all depends what the picks are, of course, but we'll go through that at the end when we recap. Okay, I'm just trying to put a list together, folks. Indiana doesn't seem to want to do deals like this, but you get rid of... I think they're going to get rid of Sabonis, but it could be Turner here too. Either one. So we'll put a little Dame for asterisk Sabonis / Turner plus... you need more. You need the Warren salary, and you need the Lamb salary. That's it. And unless they have any... Oh, they're going to want Duarte. So maybe you take Lamb out, and you put in... has he played? Not really, but he's 19, and you kind of got to throw him in the deal because they're going to take that. They're going to ask for it. Okay, so this isn't really a blow it up, but it's a deal. Plus Warren, plus Duarte, plus Jackson, plus picks. Maybe. And then you look at the Pacers, and you're like, all right, now we have Dame, Brogdon, who can play the two because he can defend, Turner, LeVert, and that team's better. -7 wins for the Pacers? Really? I just think it changes their identity. Well, also Warren's out for the season. I don't know if it accounts for that. Blazers didn't change? See, I don't see that. I also think the Blazers would trade McCollum after that, and they would just try to reload around Sabonis if possible, sign him long term, and see what happens. Weird. Okay. Pacers out. Utah. This should be an interesting one. The Jazz. Mike Conley can be traded, okay? So he's going back, and you're upgrading Conley into Dame to put with Mitchell and Lillard, which is entirely possible. So you have $21 million there, and you need to close an $18 million gap. It could be Bogdanovich. It could be Ingles. I don't think they like Ingles as much as Bogdanovich, probably. And then you're going to want someone young. Do they have any young talent? Jared Butler. It's a second-round pick, though. I mean... Whiteside. Oni hasn't really played. Another second-round pick. They don't have a lot of young stuff to give, and their picks aren't going to be very good. Azubuike got drafted in the first, right? Has he played? Not really, but I mean, he goes in there. Yeah, I don't know what they have that's young. Ingles is 34. That's such a salary filler. Bogdanovich is 32. I don't think they want either of these, so it would have to be Ingles expiring, and then Conley, which brings you up, and then picks. I don't think that's realistic because the picks are too bad. And same thing with, well, the Celtics, you're getting Brown, right? The Kyrie thing, you're getting Kyrie. The problem is anywhere you give Dame, the picks are going to be kind of bad. So, I don't know. That's what's tricky about trading him, because he's so good, he's going to elevate a team. You could trade him somewhere terrible, but why is that team going to do that unless you're the Knicks? So, Conley, because he can be traded on the 14th, which is why we're doing these shows now. A week in advance. Get out ahead of it, because the 14th, some crazy stuff's going to happen, or at least crazy rumors are going to fly. Ingles, Azubuike, plus picks. Okay? That definitely makes the Jazz interesting. I mean, it makes the Jazz title contender. Big time. If they can pull off all their picks and swaps and all that kind of stuff. Let's go to the Clippers. I don't think this one's going to work at all. But you give Bledsoe back, who's the salary filler of the year. You could give... Does anyone want Kennard? I mean, no, right? Terrence Mann can't be traded till next year. Hartenstein, no one wants. Boston is in there. Keon Johnson, young kid, he can go in there. So you get 2 young assets. You throw... Man, you're trading all your guards, but you know Dame's going to fill that role. You signed Reggie Jackson. He can't be traded till next year. So you're just having Dame and Reggie Jackson as your guards. So they'll have to give back somebody, like, maybe not. Dennis Smith or whatever. Just because someone has to play. Right? But let's not worry about that. Because it looks ugly on the sheet. And truth be told, Dennis Smith Jr. doesn't deserve to be in this trade. So it's either Kennard or Marcus Morris. And I think you need Kennard to play guard. This makes the Blazers 7 worse, which makes sense because this is a tank move. And it makes the Clippers really scary. Okay? So, do the Clippers don't have any picks, though, do they? It doesn't show you what picks they have. Because they traded them all for Paul George, did they not? Yeah. The Thunder have all their picks. So they can't do this. Cross them out. Did I miss that for any other teams that don't have picks? The Knicks have theirs. The Celtics have theirs. The Nets don't have any. Right? Because they gave them all for Harden. Yep. So the Nets are out. The Wizards are fine. The Raptors are fine. The rest of them are fine. Okay. I'm gonna put a break here, though. Yeah. Okay. Clippers are out. Dallas. Does Dallas have draft picks? They gave one to the Knicks. This is round 2. This is also protected. So they have picks. Okay. So Dallas can do this. But in order to do it, what are you giving up? All your picks, I guess. Just kind of talked about that. But I mean, it's Porzingis to fill salary, or maybe they don't even want that. Can you get there without him? Because you need to put Powell in, and he plays a lot. So does Porzingis. So you're gonna need like someone. Yeah. Kleber plays too, but the salary has to be somewhere. And you need it to be big. It has to be Porzingis. Plus, they don't have any young talent. I mean, Brunson goes in. Moses Brown goes in. But that's about all you can do. That's pretty much what it is. And I mean, maybe. Dame for Porzingis plus Brunson plus Brown plus Green. Colors. Dame for colors plus picks. Okay. Denver. Do they have any salary that could even go back? Probably not. Just extended this. They could trade Barton. He would have to be in there. Monty Morris has to be in there. So you're at 23. You need another 20 million. Ideally, you're trying to pair Murray with Lillard. Can't trade Porter. You sure can't. I don't think they can get there with salary unless they put Murray back in the deal, which I just don't see happening. But maybe. Yeah. Jeff Green can go. So you have Barton and Jeff Green is 23 million plus 8.5. You're at 31.5, and you can put Campazzo. You're at about 34. You're at about. Does Bol play? No. You're at about 36. And you're okay. You can do this. You can do this. If you put Barton. I mean, this is a total blow it up. And Green. But this is truly insane. And you need to give every pick you own. But hey. I'm going to put it in this category because I don't think it's likely. For, what do we say? Barton. Plus, we're getting no young talent here. Like, they're not going to do this. Because you need picks and young assets that you like. And none of these are that. This is just salary filler, right? That's also why I don't think the Mavs one makes sense. So I'm actually not even going to put this down because they don't have a single young player that you want. And they're going to need to get something other than the pick, something that interests them. Like even this one, at least you get Rui and Kispert. And I still don't think that's very good. Like Achua you like, Duarte and Jackson could be good. So let's put this down here. See, these are the ones that actually excite you. These are the ones that you're like, yeah, it works, but I don't think so. And these are the ones that are like, okay, this is ugly, but this one definitely works. I just don't think Cleveland would do it. So let's move that there. And This one is just a little wild, but it does work. And it probably should go here. Because this does... Maxi gets you excited, you know? But I just don't think you're getting... I'll put it in a category of its own. But yeah, this Nuggets one I really don't think is possible. Because you don't want any of these players. And they don't have a young player that you want, unless you're getting Murray back. In which case, maybe you can do that. I mean... Oopsie. Portland... I mean, he's hurt, though, is the problem. But it's like, if it's Dame for Jamal Murray and... Is there any young person that you want? No. So it's just Murray and Green. I'll put it here because it's another weird one. I mean, maybe. Does this improve them enough? Like, let's see what it does if I play with the salaries. For Jamal Murray plus Jeff Green. I actually probably want to keep Jeff Green now that I think about it. It would be Monty Morris. Because he's actually pretty young. So these salaries work, and the trade makes the Blazers worse, which is intended. Because they're not totally bottoming out by doing this, but at least they get a young person in Murray. He's still very young, 24. And the Nuggets get to go for it now. All right. I mean, hey, it's cutthroat to trade Murray after what he did, and then tearing his knee up, but I get it. I at least get it. The T-Wolves could definitely dangle Towns, right? And then all you have to throw in is you're not getting rid of Russell. I mean, no. Well, maybe they will take that actually, just to take the contract away, and then because they're trying to do the Dame and Edwards thing, so if you are taking on Russell and also getting picks with this, then you can give up. Who do you not need now? Nurkic, and you need maybe Covington goes. Because then the Blazers are just building around Towns anyway. So this makes sense. And then pick. Okay? So I could throw this towards the top. Because I think this one is realistic. Dame for Towns plus Russell. Oh, Dame and Covington and Nurkic. And there's a couple of ways to work this one. Towns, Russell, picks. Okay. Maybe. This is interesting. It does what you want it to do. Makes the Blazers worse, but they have Towns to build around. Russell, they just let that contract run out, and then he's a trade chip next year to get another thing. And you're in tear it down mode, but you have the piece. The Timberwolves now have Lillard and Anthony Edwards, and they're ready to go. They're ready to start competing, and they build from here. This is a building block kind of move. I actually love that, but I don't think it'll happen. It's a little too weird, but I don't mind it. The Kings can do Fox. The Kings can do Fox, and then they're going to want Halliburton is the thing. They really are. But the whole point would be to kind of pair Dame with Halliburton, I think. So I don't know how they get around that. Well, they do have Davion Mitchell. So maybe they take him instead. Right? It has to be him. And then it has to be a little bit of salary fill. Do they have any? Harkless. Yep. And that makes it work. Because he can go on the 14th. So we're looking at Dame for Fox, Mitchell, Harkless, picks. Okay? So there's more deals for Dame for sure, but some of them are really weird. Let's go to the Spurs. Spurs don't have anything to offer. I don't see how this happens for the Spurs. They need to build back through the draft, and they know it. You know, I just don't. I don't know. DeJounte and Thad Young and all their picks. But you probably want DeJounte with Dame. Because he's big and can defend, right? Yeah, he's 6'4", like, so he can't be in it. So it really needs to be White, Young. Total you want to keep. Lonnie Walker, Primo, or Keon has to be in there. And do the salaries work here? No. You need a little more. Not much, though. Trey Jones can go back, and that should work. It doesn't. You gotta put Eubanks. Now it should work. Really? What am I not seeing here? Cut under $1 million? I mean, they have to have something else, right? Landale. Okay, and that will make it work. That's a lot of names, and it would require a lot of picks, but perhaps. I'm putting this in the unlikely category. 4. White plus Young plus Walker the 4th plus Keon Johnson. How do I spell his name? 2 R's. I don't know if this is clear who all the people are, but I'm doing my best here. And you should watch the whole show anyway. Plus Keon Johnson plus Eubanks plus Jones plus picks. And we got to widen it, folks. The widening ceremony. Okay? Sounds gross. I mean, this is ridiculous, but hey, that's what the trade machine is for. And then we have the Rockets. Houston can offer. I mean, they're in such rebuild mode. Like, what makes this work? But hey, Wood. They're not going to give up Jalen Green. I don't think. Porter. They'd have to. And then what do you have? You have Dame on the worst team in the league? Like, none of this makes sense. So, the Rockets don't even deserve to be here. Fuck the Rockets. They're disgusting. They're on a winning streak and we're going to fade them tonight. Tease it. It's coming up. Picks are coming up. Not putting the Rockets in here. The Thunder have 1 million picks, so that's why they're going to have to be in. So, well, the Rockets have 1 million picks too, is the thing. All right. Do I go back to Houston? Augustine to make salary work. They can't. Gordon has to go to make the salary work, and this is what it is. And then you need to give up Sengun. You need to give up Porter. You need to give up Tate. You need to give up a lot of shit. And you could have Nurkic go the other way. And then you need to give Garuba to make the salary work, probably. And you just have nobody. I mean, this is sending Dame to die. It really is. It makes the Blazers terrible. It makes the Rockets better. I mean, okay. Who knows? Maybe they love Christian Wood. Plus, Sengun is a good... I like him. I like Sengun. Back to the basket guy. Maybe he can really be the next gen of centers that are coming back. Porter Jr. plus Tate. I mean, you're getting young talent, and you're getting all the picks you want. It's just Dame isn't going to want to do this. But whatever. And then the Thunder, and then the Pelicans, and then we're done, so. The Thunder. Dame. How do they get the salary? They don't. This is not even possible to match the salary. Favors, Giddey. You'd really just. You give Poku. You can't. They don't have any salary. Oh, they have trade exceptions. Okay. So they have 21 million in trade exceptions. So this makes this deal work now, actually. But are there other young players they want? Maladon. Probably take Dort. Giddey, Poku, Maladon, Dort. Man. It works. I mean, it's awful. But the Thunder do have a million picks. I'm putting the Thunder with the Rockets in the, like, yeah, I guess, because they could just offer 7 picks category. Really good title for a category. Dame for Giddey. EY? Yeah. Poku. Plus Man. Plus Dort. Plus Maladon. Plus Favors. Plus picks. Okay. So there's a way. I mean, there's a real way to blow this up with Dame, obviously. You know? And there's an Ingram deal to be made in New Orleans. And then you try to pair Dame with Zion and see what happens there. And you only need 10 more million going the other way, which is Satoransky, and that's what it is. And then you're going to have to give up Kira Lewis. You're going to have to give up Herb Jones. And, you know, have Nasir Little go the other way or whatever. But does this work the way it is? Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. So Dame. I don't want Nasir Little going on my list. I'll put this in this category because it's interesting. If you like Ingram, he's still young, right? 24, yeah. Dame for Ingram. But I actually think this one makes more sense. Oh, they have a million picks from trading Drew. Yeah, so I'm going to put this up a little bit. Dame for Ingram plus Sato plus Kira Lewis. Why do I do some first names and some not? Plus Herb Jones. Some of them just make sense. Plus picks. Okay. And I think we're done. That's what we have. That's what we have. The Damian Lillard trades are up. We got there. The McCollum trades are up. We got there. We'll put this like this. I'll move myself over a tiny bit. Yeah? Can we see that? Great, 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 great. And there you have it. These are the deals. These are the deals I could come up with. We'll go through them quick. If you're trying to trade now and improve by trading McCollum, you can go McCollum for Ben Simmons. We talked about that on yesterday's show. You can do McCollum and Nurkic for Jaylen Brown and Richardson. I think that is interesting. Shakes up both teams. I don't think you're going to get that without giving up some assets, but it's possible. McCollum to Toronto, sure. You got the Siakam deal there to just flip positions a little bit and rebuild. Can you win with that? I don't know. You can go get Sabonis. You can pair him with Dame. You can go get Jaren Jackson. Pair him with Dame. Similar kind of things. Siakam, Sabonis, Jaren Jackson, and McCollum is at least a piece that those other teams would want if they're just willing to shake it up because they don't know what kind of direction their team is going in. McCollum for Porzingis, McCollum for Ingram, McCollum for Kyrie. Those are kind of self-explanatory because the salaries work and those teams need to do something. I don't think the Porzingis one makes you much better. I don't know if the Ingram one I get, and then the Kyrie one is like, what are we doing here? But maybe. I don't think you can do Kyrie and Dame. It's obviously at the bottom of the list. And then if you want to blow it up and trade Dame, the number one I still think is the Knicks. I think they have the best package. I really think they can go get it. I really do. So you give up Barrett, you give up Toppin, you give up Quickly, you give up Burks and Knox to fill salaries, and then you throw picks in. And you can put Dame with Randall and see what you can do. You still have Rose. And Kemba goes in this deal too, I believe, to fill salary. But yeah, double plus for Kemba. You know what? He deserves it. Big Kemba fan. Go UConn. Although, picks in a minute. We'll see. You ship Dame out for Jaylen Brown to Boston. You can do that. They've talked about it. Dame for Ingram that we just talked about. I kind of like that because you can get Kira Lewis and Herb Jones, and then you get 1 million picks from the Drew Holiday deal plus their own picks. So they're stacked. You can go get Karl Anthony Towns probably. I think that one makes sense. Dame plus Anthony Edwards I think would be really sneaky awesome. Dame for Garland and Mobley. I don't know if the Cavs are going to do that kind of thing, but you never know. It kind of makes sense. Dame for Jamal Murray and picks. I didn't put picks here, but they're surely necessary. Imagine him with Jokic. They would score 150 a game and give up 145, but it would be fun as hell to watch. Dame for Fox and Mitchell, and Harkless is his name. Not Markless, but Mo Markless. That'd be fun. Sounds like a old school game show host. Maybe it doesn't. Picks. Dame for Christian Wood. That Rockets deal, because they have 1 million picks from the Harden deal and their own picks, so at least they could overwhelm them with draft capital. Same with the Thunder. You give them all your young players with that. I don't think the Spurs one makes a lot of sense, but if you like Derek White and Lonnie Walker and Keon Johnson is the real one there, maybe, but I just don't see that. I just threw it on because they could give up all their picks if they wanted to. I just think all these other deals are way more attractive. I don't know why they would want to do that unless Dame wants to go play for Pop and they do him a favor or something. The Dame for Simmons thing we talked about twice now on the show. Dame for Siakam, Achua, Flynn, plus all the picks. If they love Siakam, I guess. Similar thing, Sabonis or Turner. And then you get Duarte, you get Isaiah Jackson, and you get all their picks. Maybe you like that. I really like Sabonis, so I would be attracted to this more than some other people. But there's a possibility there. If you want to go to the Wizards, you can get Rui, you can get Kispert. Hispert's his brother, although they have different last names. It's a very confusing situation. They're a unique family. And you can give all the Wizards picks, I guess, to try to get Dame and Beal together. I don't know if they're going to want to accept it. It's why it's at the bottom, but, there you go. Dame for Conley, Ingles, Azubuike, and picks. Same thing. It makes the Jazz unbelievable, but they would have to give up every pick they've ever owned to make this at all enticing because they don't have the young players. And then Dame for Porzingis and Brown and Green and the color crew from Dallas. But again, they don't have anything that people want. And then if you are blowing it up with some of these, you can trade McCollum and get more. So there you have it. Those are the deals. I think we came on some that make sense. But we're going to find out as time goes on. I don't think we're that far from some of these deals happening. I really don't. The 14th, all these deals unlock. The teams have been talking about it. They have. And if they have, stuff could happen quickly. Especially with the Blazers who, if you want to tank, you need to start doing it now. Because with some of these deals, you can get a good pick this year and have some of these. Like, imagine you did the Jamal Murray deal and he can't even play and your team bottoms out completely, and then you have Jamal Murray to come back with plus all the picks. Just an example. It could really work. Or even the Knicks deal. Like, they're not winning now. They're not going to win there either. So you can try to really bottom out. So some of these deals are different than one another. But I think a lot of them could involve a quick turnaround with young talent, a top pick, and then the other team's picks. And you just got to hit in the draft. So we'll see what happens. Let's give the picks for today and then get out of here. We are going to go with a tried and true system that my friends and I have used for years. It has been profitable for a while, and I'm going to share it with you. College basketball, this is when it's going to kill me. It hurts me to say it out loud, and I don't want to do it. But you got to go with every game in the system or else it doesn't work. So there's no heart at play here. Unranked teams at home favored against a ranked opponent. They cash a lot. They really do cash a lot. And West Virginia fits the mold against UConn tonight. UConn's going on the road. Two of their best players are out. I can't back this UConn team without Martin and Sonogo. And West Virginia is going to put pressure on their ball handlers, which they don't have that many of them. Cole might end up turning the ball over for UConn. And West Virginia money line at minus 140. We got to go with it. This is the game we play. I'm also going to put in a parlay in the NBA. We're going to stick with double basketball. We went 50-50 last night, but we're going to win both today. The Nets at the Rockets, back-to-back for the Nets, but I'm double-dipping because I'm fading Houston's win streak. I don't believe in them. They've beaten some bad teams and had some fluky games, and they can't guard Kevin Durant and James Harden. If those guys end up sitting right before tip-off, then God bless you. But I still think you should beat the Rockets with even one of them. This win streak is nonsense. I really don't like what the Rockets are doing to John Wall and are doing in general and sending. What kind of message are they sending? Even though they're winning games now, I think they're going to go on a torrid losing streak too. So I'm just fading this win streak. I think it should be a 30-point win for the Nets, honestly. They should just go in there and smash them and teach them a lesson. So I'm going to put them in a money line parlay with the Bucks at the Heat. And that is because the Heat don't have Butler or Bam, and I can't trust them. Kyle Lowry and Hero are fun, and Dwayne Dedmon can fill in, but no one there to... PJ Tucker is going to try to guard Giannis, which will be fun to watch because they were teammates. But other than that, too much missing firepower from the Heat. I think the Bucks roll them. So those are the two picks for the day. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. We might do a version of this trade machine day with the Warriors. I've been thinking about them. So we might do that. We'll definitely preview Thursday Night Football, which is set to be an ugly one if you ask me, which I'm not going to want to pick, but maybe we'll figure something out. And we'll see what happens. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Oh, and follow at MikeTheMush Sports, would you? Be a pal.